I think this is working. Here we go. Hello and welcome to this live video. I've got the mic going. I'm not sure if it's working. Hopefully it is. Otherwise, this is going to be a long episode of... Oh, what's this? Yeah, not sure what that is. The mic is working. I think it is. Does anyone watching say it's working? I think I saw something. Anyway, I'll talk about things, and then if it works, it works. Got to try something. Oh, it is working. Brilliant. Thanks very much, Amiga Hunter 9. Right. We're going to talk about brushes today. Brushes. And I've just finished a episode for good old YouTube. I painted a scene with a car, which should be good. Should be a good viewing. And while I was doing it, I was consciously thinking about what I was doing with my brushes. And because a lot of the times when you're painting, I tend to go into the zone. I actually forget and just paint, just get the brush and just start slopping it on and not really think about what I'm doing. So I really got really involved thinking, while I'm painting, think about what I'm doing so I can explain it, because some people, well, they might not notice, and you might be doing something that you don't even notice yourself. You're just doing it instinctively, and it'd be good to share it. I'll do a couple of heys. Hey, Deb K. Hey, Jacob Benjamin from Dallas, Texas. Wow. So let's go through a few of my brushes. So I've got my little pot of brushes, and as you know, I don't clean my brushes. I use a mixture. Well, you might not know. I use a mixture of this, oil of cloves, and not beetroot, linseed oil. And I blob. I got this little pipette. Well, I did. Don't know where it is. And I blob some of this. This is it says clove bud oil, or oil of cloves. And you put a little bit of that in the oil, mix it together, and then all I do then is dip my brushes in after I've finished painting, and then put my brushes on this plastic palette that I used to use in all my videos. And so that stops the paint from drying, and then I just wipe them. So sometimes after I've done a painting, I'm like, can't bother to clean the brushes. So I just dip them all in the oil of cloves and linseed oil mix, and then just chuck them on my tray. And then another day, I'll come over and then I'll wipe them all, because they've got a load of paint on them with the mix on it to stop it from drying. But then another day, maybe I've got a bit more time, and I'll think, I'll get rid of most of the paint, and I use one of my knives and just go onto the palette, and it gets rid of most of it, and then just give them a wipe, and then dip them into the mixture, and then you've got less paint on. So when you come to use them again, you can just wipe them on a paper towel, and then look at the brushes to see what color they are, and then you can mix your colors again similar to them. That's what I tend to do. That's why it's good to have quite a lot of brushes, I suppose, because then you can just look along them and think, that one's still a bit yellowy, so I can use that one. Let's go through each brush and talk about them. That's my plan. Hey to Mike Norton from Florida, Beverly Cassidy Fine Art, Chris Hamilton, good afternoon. So here's a big brush. And colored brushes, Amiga Hunter, yeah. So here's a good size brush. It's a 2.5 inch Bill Alexander brush. and I ordered this when I was on a bit of a Bill Alexander marathon, and I'm still on it actually. I love watching his videos, and I was really excited to get it. 2.5-inch brush, and if you notice in the older episodes of Bob Ross episodes, early ones, he used this brush instead of the 2-inch because he was a Bill Alexander instructor before he became his own brand. So he used these materials, and I actually didn't use any paint thinner on this brush. I cleaned it using this mixture that they had on their website. It was sort of a linseed. Well, my mixture was different to theirs. I made it slightly different. I just used what I had. I used cold pressed linseed oil, fairy liquid, and water, and then just used that, and it seemed to work. I don't know. I mean, it's still a little bit dirty. It's got a blob of, a stain of phthalo green or something on it. But, pretty good. But no paint thinner, and it did work. It took a bit more time, but it worked. So yeah, why have a big brush like this? Well, everyone that's watching probably seen that Bob Ross and Bill Alexander, they have quite big canvases, and they want to get their paintings done quickly. Because if you're doing a show, for one, if you're doing a painting show that's only 25 minutes long, then you're going to have to get that sky in fast, like 5 minutes. So a big brush is going to do that. But also, I think I heard Bill Alexander saying that he created the bigger brushes because of the time it was taking him to do paintings for selling. And when you're selling paintings, time is money, isn't it? And if that's your living, and then he was trying to work out ways he could get in skies a bit quicker than before. So I think that's why he did that. And also the invention of magic white that Bill Alexander did was again to make things a bit quicker because of using so much white when you're color mixing. He thought, oh, I know, I'll cover the canvas in white already, and then my colours can mix into it as I do it. So it's quite a clever chap, really. And so this brush I would use for doing big backgrounds, slop in the paint, get the whole sky going, and then, well, you could do the whole painting really with these, because you can use it as the big side, so the whole big bit, or you can use it like that, so you're only using this bit. So you just got like this little bit there that you're using, and then you can mix and things and do all sorts of things with a big brush. I really like the big brushes. The only minus for me, as you'll notice in a lot of my paintings, I don't use big brushes, and it's because of the cleaning. I detest cleaning. Don't really like using paint thinner, and the soapy method, it works, but it's a bit of a job because it takes quite a while to clean it. You can't quickly clean it and carry on painting like you can with paint thinner. So yeah, probably need more brushes. Probably need a few brushes, and then if I was going to do more videos using the bigger brushes, I'd have to have like a whole load of them ready. So then there's like the 1-inch brush, which is the same really as that other one, just smaller. You just do everything with a little bit more detail in a way, because it's smaller, so you've got a bit more control. And I remember when I first started doing the Bob Ross style, I used to find it easier to do most of it with the 1-inch brush rather than the 2-inch brush that I had. And but yeah, it is a good brush as well, because when you're doing like bushes, the 1-inch brush, it's formidable for doing those lacy type bushes that are so popular. So there's one of those. For me, the ultimate brush, the ultimate brush is the Filbert brush. You'll notice on my videos, I pretty much use Filbert brushes. I always tend to use Filbert brushes because I think they're the perfect size, and I like this shape. I also like, just notice the straight brush there. Closely followed to the Filbert is the straight brush, the flat brush. They call them the flat brush. I don't know why I call it the straight brush. I think it's because it's straight there. So in my head, I'm like, oh, the straight brush. Yeah, the straight brush, flat brush. Let's not get complicated. The flat brush is I use it a lot for when I'm using gouache. For instance, there's a painting I did of an Incredible, Mr. Incredible, in fact, and I used the flat brush to do the wash. So get a little bit of paint and just go and just fill it in. I do most of those these type of paintings with flat brushes, actually, and you can use again. The great thing about these brushes is you can use the corners. So don't think of it as just a brush that's flat, that you've got this area to paint with. You should think of it as, I've also got this corner, and this brush you could be thinking as well, it's got a nice straight edge. So you could load your paint along the top and you could go and do fence posts and stuff. So it could be really helpful to have like a straight brush in your arsenal of brushes. If you haven't got one, it's a good one to have. So we've done Filberts, straights. I'll open up for questions and I'll try and read all the comments so I don't lose my train of thought. I'll keep going and I'll glance back. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. The fan brush. I really like the fan brush, but I don't use it enough. I don't really use them very often in my videos, and I've been looking at them recently thinking, I really want to get into using the fan brush again, because they're so different, aren't they? They've got this nice fan shape. Of course, it's a fan brush. It's going to have a fan shape. It's quite a long brush, and like the width is quite nice, and again, you've got this area for, you'll notice in the Bob Ross videos where he'll go and do his trees. Great for doing trees, but also like this area for doing you put in like leaves and things. And a lot of the old masters used to use one of these for doing things like that. When I first started painting, I used to see these as blender brushes. I was like, oh, blender brushes, that's a bit weird. And that's a good question. That just flashed up. Do you have a favorite brand of brushes? I don't have a favorite brand. I do like, because I'm a cheapskate. These brushes I quite like. They're Daler Rowney graduate brushes because they're quite cheap, and they sell them in the art shop that I go to, and I always buy them. I do really like the Bob Ross Filbert brushes, and I've got quite a few of those. And but I like their animal range of brushes as well. The Bob Ross animal range, they do like floral brushes and wildlife brushes. That's it. And I've got a few of their wildlife ones, and they're really good. I really like them. But Yeah, graduate brushes. They're super cheap. I think they're Daler-Rowney graduates, and you can get all different sizes. Yeah, the price is right for me, and they're quite good. They're good enough. I think they're synthetic, but they work for me. Let's have a look at the comments. So no mineral spirits. Nope. Mike, I do not use any mineral spirits. Although I did, tell a lie, the other day I left all my brushes and it was quite hot and I hadn't painted for a few days with oils. Or maybe it was a couple of weeks. And my brushes had dried out quite a lot. And so I wanted to paint that day. So I didn't want to soak them to soften them up. And I cleaned them all in, what did I use? Whatever I had in the garage. I think it was turpentine. And I cleaned the brushes with that to get it clean. Or was it white spirit? Could have been white spirit actually. And I did that just to clean them quick. Yeah, that's a good question. Some people like this brush, this round brush that I've been messing around with. Let's see, it's all dusty. But to get the point back, I dip them in milk, and then you put a paper towel around it, and you wrap it really tight, and then leave it. And then when you take the paper towel off, you get your point back. So you can keep doing that, and you can keep getting your point back on these brushes. So you get a nice point. That works for me. Otherwise, depending on what kind of brush it is, if it's one of those big brushes, you might need brush conditioner or something to get them back. A little bit of oil maybe in the brush. I think I heard someone using hair cream to sort their brushes out, but I've never tried that. I suppose it would work because it is if it's a natural hairbrush, then it would work. Is there a difference between virgin oils like cold pressed and other processes to extract oil other than price? Yeah, cold pressed oil is supposed to create the strongest film. So when you paint, your oil paint oxidizes, it creates a film, and that cold pressed oil creates a stronger one than regular linseed oil. So I've read anyway. Are you and Clive still buds? Yes, we are. We message each other quite a lot actually about painting ideas and things, and even workout ideas as well. We're always messaging each other because I've gone on a bit of a fitness regime at the moment because I was getting little elbow injuries from work because I do quite a manual job, and I thought I need to do some opposite training to what I do at work to improve my joints. So we give each other tips and things, which is helpful. So what other things have we got here? Got a fan brush. Oh yeah, the flat brush. Something else I do with brushes is when I load my paint, I load it like that, so I get paint laying on the top of the brush, and then I'll just paint sort of like that, gliding the brush along, and then you just get the paint touching the canvas, and it just goes. I think that's one of the things I learned in this. It was a master's book, Mastering Oil Painting or something like that. And one of the things I learned from that was not using the brush as a brush to go, but using it to just glide on the canvas, and I do that quite a lot now. I start, when I do a painting, you probably notice, I scrub the paintings and get it all ready, like a baking a cake, and then I'll start scooping the paint up on my brushes and start laying paint on top of each other. And I learned how to do that from studying just loading the brush without the brush touching the canvas. So you have your paint on the brush, and this is for like your highlights and things, and you just let it glide on without touching. So it's a funny thing, really, because you're not using a brush then, because technically you could do that with anything, couldn't you? Because you're just loading it, and then you're just going. It works. You have to try that. If you've never tried painting with your paint on the brush, and you make sure your brush doesn't hit the canvas, and then let it glide on, it works really well. I really recommend it when you're doing your highlights. It's brilliant. Oh, here's a good brush. The soft brush. The soft brush. Yeah. Yeah, I'll come back to that. So yeah, the soft brush. This is this was a Daily Rowney graduate brush, I think. I can't remember actually. So when I'm painting something and I want the background to go further back, I'll soften everything, and using these really nice soft brushes, you can just nicely soften the background. So if you imagine you've got a sky and then a hill going in front of the sky, and you want that line of the hill to soften because you want it to be further away, you just lightly softly make it vanish. So it's so you get rid of edges, basically. I get my words right. You get rid of the edges, and when there's no edges, your eye doesn't go to it, so it looks further away. Or say you was doing a portrait and you wanted it to be really like my face there. It's really straight, so you got a really straight edge. But my hair over here, it's disappearing. So that's where you would use your soft brush to soften that edge, and there you would need your paint on the edge to go. Yeah, it's a really good thing, that is really good. But I tend to use my finger. This is my best brush. I find if when I'm blending, I'm always doing it now, always doing it with my hand. And when I was painting earlier, and I was painting in the clouds, I went, oh no, I don't want to use my hand today because I didn't want to get paint all over my hand. But my hand just goes straight in there. I'm addicted to finger painting. Bob Ross products are great, but expensive. Yes. Yeah, they were really expensive in the art shop that I was going to, and then suddenly they vanished, and now there's none. So, hi Jason, thanks for the tips, very helpful, from Evelyn. Thanks very much. I'm glad these are helpful. They are probably, some people will watch them and go, oh, I knew that already, but not all of us know. So I like to consider to be the helper for the beginners. Have you considered making a painting entirely using your fingers as a challenge? Ooh. That would be a fun challenge. That would be a fun challenge. I could totally smash that out of the park. Oh no. Thought this was ASMR, artist brushes hair. ASMR back to haunt me again. It's amazing. I get complaints from people that watch my videos for ASMR, and I giggle in them. People don't like it, and well, they're not ASMR videos, so you can't really complain. If I was selling myself as an ASMRist, then yeah, but I'm not. I'm just a painter. Hello, is it Jonk Marquez? Hi, Jason. Your painting of Chatsworth Garden is brilliant. My favourite. Greetings from England. Oh, greetings. Let's talk about. Oh yeah, we didn't do this brush. It's getting sidetracked. I easily get sidetracked. Again, action. Hi. I greet you from the Czech Republic. I also paint. I'm a beginner. Hello. Hang in there. Beginners, hang in there, because one day you won't be a beginner, and then you'll be able to show other people how to do it. So, liner brush. Yeah. So a liner brush can be a problem brush. Small brushes can be problem brushes, and they were for me anyway. I always look at it as me, beginner me. Where was the problem? Well, the problem I had with small brushes is I would start going detail, and I would go into too much detail, and it'll make the painting look in a a matter of words awful, because I would piddle around so much. I would do so much with like a little brush that I could do with let's grab the Filbert. With the Filbert. So let's grab something. I'll use this as an example. Here's one I did earlier. What's this? What's in the little glass aquarium? Turtles? No. Every time you giggle, I giggle. That's good to hear, Jacob. And first name, what's in the glass aquarium? Turtles? No, there is guppies in there. I think I see neon tetras. Do you have a magic eyeglass? Because there's some neon tetras in the other tank that's behind me there. Yeah, this tank, I think it's 90 litres. It's quite a tall tank. And I did have my tetras in there, but then I upgraded and they're in there. And then I was like, ooh, now I've got an empty tank. Guppies. I really want to paint one as well. I was trying for ages to get a picture of one of the guppies, because it's got a really nice shine to it. It does look a bit tetra-ish because it's got a line on it, like a bright blue line, and I was trying to get a photo to do a painting, but I couldn't seem to get one. Anyway, so yeah, so let's look at this painting. So what I'm saying is, old Jason would have done this painting with a liner brush, and he would have gone and he would have piddled around, dot with his fine liner, and he would have done lots of little lines, where in fact, new Jason gets his brush, loads it, and goes. See how there's one line there, one line there, one line there. Over here, singular lines, just and that way it looks less laboured, is the word. And I think the more you paint, the less you paint. Quite like that. I might do a t-shirt that says that: the more you paint, the less you paint. Yeah. Yeah, so you do less. You start doing less. You start seeing light and you go, oh, yeah, I'll do. Oh, there's another bit. Oh, yeah, there's a bit. Oh, there's a bit. And you're almost sword fighting with the canvas. Where before I used to get right up to the canvas and I'd be going, and yeah, I would do that. And so that's something I've definitely improved on over the time that I've been painting. Is if you're struggling with that, if you find yourself going in too close, and you're like this, and you're doing every little detail with your little brush, my recommendation is to go further back, use the brush like this, so you're holding the end, and try painting like that. Because then you can see what you're doing, and then your expression with the brush will be more effective than if you're sat really close and doing that. That's my opinion. My personal opinion, but everyone's different, aren't they? So yeah, that's a. Oh, I forgot about this brush. I used to love this brush, but look at it. It's too small. The old Jason would be using this. Now he uses this. Anyway, I think I made that point pretty clear. So, yeah, I'm glad you're going to give that a go, because it definitely does help. Won't it hurt if you paint it? I'm not sure what that was. I'm going to give this a go. And cat's mad. All painters say to do this style. Yeah, I think the problem I used to find when I was doing things, I always think, well, I'm going to try it the wrong way, and then if it's the wrong way, I'll realize it's the wrong way, and then I'll do it the right way. But I'll try it the wrong way for so long that I'll tell myself, well, maybe you should try this, maybe you should try that, and then you end up doing the way someone probably told you 5 years ago, and you're doing it now. Well, why didn't you do it 5 years ago? And it was because when I was there 5 years ago, my brain hadn't caught up with the person telling me. I hope that makes sense. My slow brain. I suppose experience is everything, isn't it? Like your own experience when you're painting, you'll start working things out. Some of you will be painting with way better finesse and skill than my level, because you work a way out in your own head that works for you, and you'll be doing these amazing paintings with like skill like Rembrandt, and be because of your own experience with the paint that you get to that level. That's my thought. Oh, hello. There's two of us on the channel now. There's me and there's this guy. So let's talk about something else. We talk about brushes. Well, we've got to talk about brush strokes, haven't we? Let's see if we can get in a bit closer. So speaking of like not using a small brush, doing it all quite big, but getting a really interesting effect. You can see on this painting, each brush stroke, and it does create a look, it does create a style, but it just seems to work. If you can do it like that, you get like a Rembrandt or like a Sargent. Let's use big names. I know we're using my example, well, my copy of a good painter. But these painters like Rembrandt and Sargent, they really knew how to use paint, and they really got to that level where they didn't need a fine one hair brush. And I wish I could go to the gallery and have another look at their paintings, because when I was in the National Gallery looking at Sargent's, one of these big portraits that Sargent did, I'm stood there for ages looking at the brushstrokes, thinking, so he really, he really was economical with his brushstrokes. He was they looked really swift. It looked like he'd just sort of swiftly gone. And I mean, amazing. Yeah, Sargent, what an amazing painter. Yeah, so like that with the brush strokes, with the big brush, that just goes, that's really just the same point. I just wanted to show that so I looked like I knew what I was doing. You said you wanted to paint your fish. I asked, wouldn't that hurt them? I get it now. Again in action. I've been watching you for about 7 years. I didn't paint for a while, but now I'm starting again. I don't go to work, so I have time. You inspire me. Well, that's good. I'm glad I inspire you. That's always good for me to hear. I like to be inspiring. I get inspired by documentaries about painters. I do. I love watching documentaries and old historical things about painters as well. I get inspired by that. Jason, how long have you been painting, and do you sell them or hoard them? That's excellent, by the way. Yeah, Sargent is amazing. Both. I hoard them, and I've sold some as well. I'm starting to paint over my old ones actually, because I look at the canvas board size and I think, ooh, I could use that again and save a bit of money, so I don't have to buy a new canvas board. I can just use an old one that I pre-painted on, and just paint over it. And then I can tell myself I'm just like the masters, because the masters used to do that. Love the stream. Hello, Mark. Derek O'Donnell. Hello, Jason from, is that Clearwater? Is that Florida? Clearwater, Florida? You really captured the essence of this live stream. The essence. Yeah. Strange word is essence, isn't it? I always think essence. Well, that's something small. That's not. But then again, I suppose. I don't know. I was on a bit of a power trip when I didn't like the word essence, I think I was thinking to myself, well, I don't want it to be an essence. If I was going to paint a boat, I want it to be a boat. I don't want it to be the essence of a boat. I want it to be a boat. It's just language, isn't it? Language, it's weird. What's the other thing I hear? Oh, you really captured the likeness. Well, you're doing a portrait of them. So if you're doing a portrait, they go, oh yeah, you've got the likeness. Well, if you don't have the likeness, it's not going to be them. Who is it going to be? I don't get that one. The likeness. Of course it's their likeness. It's them. Suppose you get people when they paint a portrait and it doesn't really look like the sitter. And they say, oh yeah, you really captured their mood. But that's not them. It doesn't look anything like them. He might be capturing the mood of somebody else. The first thing I saw you paint was a snowy mountain. It got me started. You and Len Hand. Yeah, it was Len Hand the best. I used to watch Len Hand. He's one of the early YouTubers, actually. And I remember when I first started on YouTube on painting. There wasn't very many. There was Lenhand. There was me. There was Wilson Bickford, I think. I remember him painting. And then I think Kevin Hill started after that. There weren't very many. There was very few painters at one stage. Now, whoa, there's millions. Absolutely millions. The first thing I saw you paint, oh yeah. Gaining action. That I can't say that. How are you? I'm Mike from Tampa. Hi, Mike. Flamali. Miriana McCary, greetings from Serbia. Greetings. How can you paint snow with oil paints when the snow, it looks, is that muddy? Jason, you're awesome. Oil painting, keep up the good work. Yes, snow. Reference. I'm a big reference geek now. I've gone into full-on reference geek mode in everything, because when I'm painting something, say like snow, and I'm painting snow, and I want it to look natural. I want the shadows to be natural. I want the lighting to be natural or dynamic, or want it to look good. I'm always thinking, oh right, I need to see it. And then I start looking at pictures, and then I say to myself, I can't trust them pictures. I can't trust them. What if they boosted the contrast? What if they've changed things? I need to geek out more. I need to find snow and look at it. So when it snows, I don't remember it snowing this year. Last time I was out in it, and I was just stood there staring at it, and I went under this tree. I think I did a gouache painting of a tree in snow. It's not amazing painting, I got to admit, but I did learn something, because when I was staring at the snow and the tree, I noticed there was no shadows. There was not a single shadow, and that amazed me, because the light was bouncing around everywhere, and I was just amazed that there was no shadow. Why is there no shadow? Because the light bouncing everywhere. Yeah, it's brilliant. And I'm like that with everything now. I'm such a nerd. I need to know how it looks. Yeah. So, but you can get by with a few tricks as well with like color. And so if I was painting snow and I want it to look nice and white and fresh, then well, it comes down to anything really. If I was painting my skin, if I was painting snow, if I was painting that wall back there, I want my colors to be clean, and that's something that's really important. Clean colors, so you don't have like a muddiness to your paint. So if you wanted a nice white fresh snow color, you mix in your snow with maybe a little bit of lavender and white, and you've got a nice white, and then you just lay in that snow on top using just one stroke. You've done, like, you painted the whole Alps 2 strokes. Maybe I could invent a new brush that's sort of like loads of brushes all in one, and then load every single brush with paint, and then just go, and then that's the whole side of one painting done. Hey, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? That's a good idea. Maybe I'm going to patent that. It's going to be the 10 brush painters. Yeah, so that's what I would do, and I'd look for what do I want in the shadows. I'd be thinking, and I've tried blue in snow. This is when I've just used it on my head, and I made one of the worst paintings ever using blue as the shadows in a snowy picture. It looked awful. It just looked so phony and awful. And all it needed was a bit of red in with the blue, and then you could throw in your shadows. Lavender's a good one, isn't it? Bob Ross uses lavender a lot. It's such a good it's a good shadow color. I use it quite a bit, actually, when I think about it. He really helped me. Oh, I did that one. Might be a curse. Derek O'Donnell says your portraits are really good, man. Oh yeah. See, everyone knows how great I am. I love your sense of humor. I was being serious. You don't want to capture it, you want to be it. Yeah. I want to be the snow. I want to be the tree. I don't mix paint. I mix leaves. I mix water. I actually do think like that as well. I mean, that sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? But that's how I think. I don't think it's paint anymore. It's not paint. Oil paint is not oil paint to me. It is what it's going to be. It's going to be flesh, or it's going to be a kettle, or it's going to be a glass, or it's going to be the sea. It's going to be light. It's not paint. Think of it as more than paint. Magic. Yeah, I really do. I really do think like that. I'd love to read that out. Is it Iona Ryan? Is it Ilona Ryan? Again, action. I can't read it. Very sorry. Did you give up on the big painting? Derek O'Donnell says. Well, yeah. I made a mistake with a big painting. I started painting it, and I did exactly what I tell myself never to do. I mentioned it in my other live, I think. I detailed. I used a small brush and I detailed. Oh, I need to go to a meeting. Hello, my name's Jason. I used a small brush. I need to detail at the beginning of the painting. It's terrible. And then I went back to it, and I looked at it and I was like, oh no, what have I done? I've detailed, and I haven't even got the building in, and I've detailed people in front of the building, and the building's not there. So it started to give me a headache, and I've just put it to the side. But the castle one was pretty big. Now, I do plan on coming back to a big painting. I've got another big canvas. Actually, it's a bigger canvas. Oh, I've got the hiccups. Laminated reference pics. Yeah, but don't do it because they shine back at you. They're good for color mixing. When you're first getting used to color mixing, laminate the reference picture, and then you can mix your paint and then put it on and see if it looks right. It is a really good thing to do. But once you become a master of color mixing, well, not like me, like someone who can do it really well, then you can just hold your brush up and go, that's correct. Or if you like, if you're like me, you're mixing one color and then you end up mixing another color perfectly, and you go, oh yes, I meant to mix this, and then put that down, and then have another go at mixing the color you was gonna mix. I do that all the time, all the time. My favorite brush is fan. What's your favorite brush? The Filbert brush. I love it. I love the Filbert brush. You can do everything with a Filbert brush. I can paint pictures. Well, actually, that's all you can do with a Filbert brush. But it's no, I think it's really great. It's a great all-rounder, the Filbert. All the brushes are great all-rounders, I suppose. It's just the natural roundness of the top that I like. I think they designed this brush based on a nut. I think that it's a nut, an almond or something. Can't really remember. I think it is. Yeah, I feel like I want to do some paintings with a fan brush though. I've been looking at the fan brush thinking I need to get that fan brush going again. Paintings with just the fan brush. That would be pretty good. I used the my old, really old round brush, and it's so like I'll show you. Well, it's in the other room. I'd go get it, but imagine this brush, and the brush has been used so much that it's got sort of thinned here, and then it goes out there into like a bobble. It's almost like a pear. I used it on my most recent painting. If you go on Facebook, my most recent post, you'll be able to see like the car and the tree and the whole tree. Well, nearly the whole painting actually I did with that brush, and it's like a pear. It's the pear brush. My own invention, yes. But it works for it. It is working really well actually. Some oil paints can be a bit toxic, says Miriana McCary or McCary. Do you ever feel dizzy when you paint long hours? None of the paints I use are toxic because, well, I don't use any of the dangerous ones. I don't use old vermilion. Old vermilion. There's I think it's got mercury in it. Some of the old greens have got what's that? I can't remember the name now. Arsenic. It's got arsenic in it. Some of the old paints are they are unbelievably dangerous, so I don't use them, and I don't ingest any. I don't eat any of the paints, so there's no fumes for me because I'm not using any paint thinners. I'm not using anything in the house, nothing. So there's no fumes at all. Because if you think about it, if you're an acrylic painter, you're using the same as an oil painter, and if you do watercolors, majority of the pigments in watercolors, bar a few, I think, are the same. It's just they're bound by something different. Like I've made watercolors really easy. Watercolors are the easiest to make. All you use is gum arabic. Yeah, that was rubbish. Anyway, gum arabic and pigment, and you blob your gum arabic into your pigment, mix it up, done. You've got watercolor. The old way to do watercolors was like that. That's how they used to make it. But when they started to sell watercolors to the public, they didn't really like the look of them because they were cracked. Because if you make watercolors using gum arabic and pigment, it's just dry pigment, then you put it on, I make it and put it on a plate, a ceramic plate. It starts cracking on the surface, and people didn't like that. And the Victorians, they didn't like the cracked paint. Oh, you know, this is for my Sunday painting. I need my paint to look delicious in the palette. So I'm not buying this old cracked paint. I want it to look good. So they started introducing like honey or other stuff, whatever they use. Not really sure, actually. Probably is a little bit of something like honey. And it makes the paint, when it's in like its little block that they used to do, and they'd put their little stamp on it, they made it that way so it wouldn't crack. But it's, you know, makes no difference to the paint. You can still use it the other way. It's just it's not as aesthetically pleasing. But yeah, it's so easy to make. And acrylic as well, it's just like a polymer resin and pigment. I've never made it before because it scares me, the idea of it drying while I'm mixing it. So when you think about it, you've got pigment and oil. The oil and pigment's been ground together, and it is there's nothing coming off it. There's no fumes coming off it. The only thing with linseed oil is it oxidizes, and the oxygen gets to it and creates a film, but there's no poison in the air. I think it's a little bit of a myth, and but then I used to think that before I used to paint with oils, I used to think, oh, don't want to do oil painting, it's dangerous. Never really thinking, well, it's just pigment in oil. I mean, cold pressed linseed oil, they give it to horses and they eat it. I think it's probably in human food as well. Who knows? I don't really know that much about linseed oil. Yeah, so some of the pigments, they say if you ate it, you'd have trouble. Like cadmiums, but I've also heard that cadmium pigments, if you eat it, it just passes through you because it's got the pigment, and then it's got like a lock around the pigment, so the pigment is stuck in this. I better not do that too much. That's stuck in the lock, and then so then that's totally ruined my train of thought now. So then oh, that's the end of this episode. Yeah, so then it passes through you. The actual poison and the pigment never actually breaks out. But I'm, you know, as Donald Trump says, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. Bob Ross was the best. You're a close second. Thanks, Derek O'Donnell. I'll take that. I'd take third, actually. I'd take fourth, in fact. Yeah. I'm a fan of Bob Ross. Bob Ross and Bill Alexander, yes, they're the greatest. Jason, you use Mod Podge for oil painting. Mod Podge, well, my mixture of stuff. Yep. Derek O'Donnell, well, now you have more used canvases. Yes, I do have. I've got quite a lot of canvases that I'm eyeing up at the moment, thinking, new painting, I'm thinking. Mr. Struthers, all right, mate. All right, Mr. Struthers. Mr. Struthers, he used to be in the same school as me. In fact, he used to sit next to me, and we used to get told off, didn't we, Mr. Struthers? The fake fighting. And not real fighting, fake fighting. I'm glad this was helpful. Things are going well, Mr. Struthers. The paintings are coming out nicely. Are you doing paintings, Mr. Struthers? I remember Wayne. He was a very good artist. Richie Stevens says, "Hello, Jason. I really enjoy your channel and artwork. I've been a subscriber for ages and I've learned a lot from your videos. Keep it up." Thanks very much for the comment. I'm glad you enjoy my videos. I've done quite a lot of videos. Not all of them are amazing. The odd one is. Those were the days. They were funny days. School days. Oh. Funny thing, school. I got a GCSE grade D in art. So if there's anyone out there that does their art at school and they I missed that. I've never seen snow, not even in England, for 2 years. It didn't snow in Bath, but it was cold. Yeah, it did snow down here. In fact, it snowed so thick that I got stuck in it on my way to work. It took me off the road and I ended up hitting this sign. And I drove my car for another year after that until it broke down. Everyone said that I should have wrote my car off, but I kept it going. It was stuck together with blue tack and sellotape. I remember your old videos where you were obsessed with colour mixing. Yeah, obsessed. Mr. Struthers, you got a C? You got a C? Amazing. I thought you'd have got a lot higher grade. I thought you was an A-level artist. I think we got robbed. I got robbed. I'm going to make this a bitter video about getting robbed of a GCSE grade. Are you and Clive going to do a collaboration soon? Yeah, I've actually asked Clive if he would come on one of these lives so I could quiz him, because he's got quite a lot of acrylic know-how. He's a bit of a scientist with the old paint making as well, so it'd be quite good to quiz and see his thoughts on painting as well, because everyone goes up painting at different angles, don't they? Got different things that you want to paint and what you want to put out there. Yeah, so I do plan on hopefully, if I can get another live video next week, get Clive on. That'd be fun. So yeah, so we've got all these different brushes. Yeah, thanks for for viewing the live stream. I think I'm going to call this one as well. I think my final thoughts are: if you're someone who's painting, whether you're at school and you got a bad grade like I did, or if you're just starting out and you look at your painting that you've done and you don't think it's as good as it could be, hang in there, keep doing it, keep practicing, because we've all been there. Every painter in the world that's ever been has gone from beginner level to the level that they've got to, whatever level that is. Especially like Turner, who got to great grandmaster. Amazing. Yeah, so keep painting, keep enjoying yourselves, and I'll call this live stream over and out. So thanks very much for listening, and see you at another one. Cheers, bye. I do plan on doing more of these, by the way. Bye for now.